Hi, everybody. My name is Anya Grace, and I'm the founder of East West Woman Online, the Elevated Feminine Movement. So I'm really excited to be here today to talk about some really powerful information that I feel like at this time in our world, it's really necessary that, especially as women, we begin to really anchor in this philosophy and this wisdom into our bodies, into our hearts, into our minds, and just begin to activate the world, because there's so much change happening right now. And specifically as women, we are the magnetic force, we are the magnetic polarity. So we have a lot of power right now, especially when we connect with our heart, really to make change in the world in a more subtle feminine way. So a lot of what I talk about is the divine masculine and feminine energies. Specifically today, what I want to share is both some personal stories of healing and also how to activate our magnetic feminine heart. And the power of activating this heart of ours is that, when we really learn how to tune in and tune out the world, and really go inward toward the center of our being, this is where our true power lies as women. So our greatest power as women truly is in the heart. It's our ability to feel deeply, to feel emotion, to feel the ups and the downs, the energies of the planet. It's our ability to be in tune with the natural rhythms of the world. So as we've all seen, there's a lot of superficial just imagery and exposure out there in the world right now. And I feel that this is a very big detriment to the feminine force as a whole. So what I stand for and what I talk about as the elevated woman archetype is the woman who really has reconnected with her true power. The power that lies beyond the physical body, and the power that lies within her deep heart and her deeper wisdom. As women, we all want to feel and be seen for our beauty. But I believe, and I know from a lot of the work that I do, is that it's not just our external beauty, because yes, our bodies are powerful and they're beautiful, but it's also our internal beauty, which comes from our wisdom and our ability to feel. So right now we're really revaluing that on the planet. So we talk about the masculine and feminine energies being out of balance. And what I really think this means is that we get to revalue the feminine energy as much as we value the masculine energy. Because the energies themselves are working themselves out all the time. They're always in dynamic flow, they're always dancing. But where is it that we're placing our value? So what I really think, let's just see, one second, I have a few notes here. All right, so the conscious mind, let's talk just for a moment about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind and the conscious mind are it's like a man and a woman. The conscious mind is like the seed of a man, his sperm. And the subconscious mind is like the womb of a woman. So the conscious mind, our thoughts, the day-to-day, what we're aware of, what we're thinking, how we're speaking, that is more of like the seed. And that is implanting thoughts and ideas into our subconscious mind. So the images that we see, the words that we read, the things that we hear, the people that we surround ourselves with, everything that we're taking in from the external world, it's coming in through our conscious awareness most of the time. Sometimes it's just going directly into our subconscious mind. But the point is that the subconscious mind receives, like a womb receives a seed, and then grows with whatever it receives. So we, at this time, need to be really aware of what we are choosing to grow in our subconscious mind. So within this subconscious mind, and this is the point of what I'm talking about, so this is all, again, going to come back to this theme of how to activate the magnetic feminine heart. And I'll just talk about why that's important for a moment. As women specifically, the depth that we bring to relationships is a great part of our value. Men specifically, really desire to be vulnerable with a woman, whether that is in your personal relationship right now, or you're seeking to have more vulnerability and intimacy in your partnerships. Ultimately, the core masculine also really wants to feel deeply with the woman and feel her heart. So the best way to allow this to happen is for us individually as women to really work to connect with ourselves intimately. I always say that we can only be as intimate with another person as we are with ourselves. So I want to take you through a little exercise at the end of this video that'll help us to activate the magnetic feminine heart. But let's just set it up right now because I want to explain why this is important. So within our subconscious mind, we hold as women what is called the lower feminine consciousness. So the lower feminine consciousness are the patterns that we've held, whether you prescribe to past lives or not, but that we hold in our DNA, or we hold in the from the many lives we've lived, the subtle cellular memories, the samskaras, the karmic patterns that we're working through in our current life. So the subconscious mind is the unseen realm. It's like the ocean. It's deep, it's dark, it's unknown, it's watery. It's all the unknown that's really ultimately creating our experience. So it's really important that as we do our healing work in the world, that we work with the subconscious mind and know the power of this process. So within the subconscious mind, or the underbelly of the feminine, this is like the toxic feminine. We have the toxic masculine. We also have an underbelly of the feminine energy. This is where jealousy is held. This is where envy. This is where we hold our deep insecurities, the feelings of not being enough, of low self-worth, of valuing really truly not feeling like we're enough and that we need to fix something about ourselves to be enough, to be better, and to be worthy of the love that we want. Along with that it holds the victim consciousness that is going on right now in the feminine energy. So the victim consciousness is a subtle way in which women will seek out ways to be actually the victim of circumstances versus having the power to recognize that, yes, sometimes we are victims and we don't have choice, especially children. But we, especially when we grow up and we're more aware of our surroundings, we get to be very, very aware of how we are either giving our power away to a situation, which is more the victim mindset, or we're claiming our choices and we're taking responsibility for the choices we make. So anyway, that's just more of the victim consciousness is another underbelly of the feminine energy. All right, so again, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are in relationship. They're working with one another. They're affecting one another. And so the more aware we are of the thoughts that we're thinking, the more we can implant those subconscious patterns to be patterns that really lift us up and elevate us as women and as individuals. All right, so I want to share the power of working with this subconscious mind and working through these karmic patterns that we hold. So you can tell if you find that you're getting hot, like physically heated, or you're feeling your body contract or get tense or withdraw from a situation, it can be a sign that you are activating one of these old unconscious patterns. And there's a beauty in this. So when we are aware and bring an understanding that when that happens, when we have a pattern come up of heat, jealousy, fear even, scarcity, tension, anxiety, tightness, that there's something underneath the surface that we can clear. And the understanding that when we do the work to actually go into it, we can gain great power through this process. So we can actually transmute these deeper pains and turn them into our power. All right, so first we have to have the awareness and the understanding that this is an opportunity for growth. And then we get to choose to enter into the experience of being in pain or being in discomfort, and choose to have compassion and patience. So I'll tell you a personal story. So anytime, if you look at your relationships right now, perhaps you're dating somebody or you are in a relationship, and there's patterns that if you compare them to past relationships, you see that perhaps there's a pattern that's steady throughout. Or if you're dating, let's say, and you keep having an experience of the guys that you're dating, like they'll text you or they'll call you for a while and you go on dates and it seems to be going well, and then suddenly it's just gone. And all of a sudden you're in this feeling of like, why didn't you text me? Why didn't you text me back? Did I say something wrong? What did I do? Why does he not like me anymore? So that is a pattern. That's an unconscious, subtle, subconscious pattern that you can gain your power back from. So you can clear that pattern so it never happens again. So I'll tell you a personal story. When I was in college, I literally had 3 years, 3 relationships in a row. Actually, it's really spanned five years with these 3 different guys who were my best friends. And at a certain point in our friendship, feelings developed. First, it was on their side, and then it was on my side. So literally every single time with these guys, we were best friends, did everything together, adventure, travel, exercise, play, fun, everything, best friends. And I ended up developing feelings for this person. And each time the person didn't like me back in the way that I wanted them to. Despite being fairly intimate and fairly close, they ultimately didn't want me as a romantic partner. And at the time, that felt like death. It felt so painful in my body because, and I really got clear with this, my core wound, the reason it hurt so bad is that I felt that these men who knew me the most, more than anybody else, that my best, closest friends who saw every side of me, had so much fun with me, and really saw who I was, didn't want me. So it was the pain of feeling like my true self wasn't desirable enough for these people. That how could the person that knows me the most not want me? So I remember the last one of these relationships. So things kind of fell away with the first guy, and then things fell away with the second guy. And then there was my last best friend, and we, kind of explored being romantic, and ultimately he didn't want that. And I remember sitting at my desk I was home in my room at my desk. I was living in Palo Alto at the time. And I remember just clenching over in physical pain with my tears and my emotional sadness, and truly this pain body experience of not being loved and not being enough, and especially from the man who I thought saw me and knew me the most. And at this time, though, I was doing a lot of this work, and I knew that this was a pattern, obviously. It has shown up 3 different times in my life. And so it was in that moment of being in the physical pain that I knew I would have the opportunity to clear it, or it would just continue to happen again. And I was just I was done. I was like, this cannot happen again. I'm over these best friends who it's just confusing and the boundaries are weird. And, I'm over this. I'm done. And so I sat there and breathed and took some deep cleansing, calming moments for myself, and I really dove into that pain point. And this is what I want to share with you, is that when we dive into these parts of us that are, for one, patterns, and B, causing us pain and suffering in our lives, when we actually choose to spend enough time to dive into them intimately, we build such great depth in ourselves. So this depth is the most beautiful thing we can cultivate, because when we become intimate with these pain points, what happens is we begin to heal them through the light of awareness. Like if you think of a laser beam or sunlight, ultimately it can penetrate physical matter or like darkness inside of us and dispel those molecules and dispel that matter and transform it. So when we bring that light of awareness into the physical and emotional pain of our body, we literally begin to transform. Mixed with the intention to clear and to heal, this is a really beautiful process. So what happens is ultimately love and compassion come in. And compassion is a really powerful quality of the divine feminine. It's a quality I believe the goddess holds. Her frequency is compassion. That's one of the frequencies that she holds. And within compassion lie warmth and understanding and unconditional love and acceptance. So inside of this compassion that we ultimately begin to bring forth within ourselves, for ourselves, we allow ourselves to truly soften into both pain and love. And like the truth is that the pain is never really going to go away in our lives. Like we will always be dealing with pain. We will always be dealing with struggle. And it can vary, but we have many emotions and they're not always joy and happiness. So what is our relationship to that pain? And I truly believe, and that the point of this whole conversation is that, you know, when we begin to dive into these points and see them as opportunities for learning and for healing, we become a greater vessel and have a higher capacity for love, compassion, warmth, generosity, understanding, and acceptance. So flash forward to being in relationship with you. So if you do this process, like as I do this process, as we do this process as women, and we develop this deep capacity, we ultimately invite others to experience that love, compassion, and acceptance as well. We become these strong vessels of all of those qualities and all of those frequencies. And specifically for the man, for men in our lives, for all of our friends, everybody, but specifically for men, we grant them that gift of our heart, and specifically our deep felt heart, our intimate heart, the heart that has felt our own pain and has learned to transmute that pain and turn it into our power. So this, you know, the reason that this is powerful, and I want to just connect it back to the beginning, is that magnetic feminine energy that we cultivate is the opposite of superficial. If you think about sex, if you think about intercourse, a man comes into a woman's body and her depth takes him in, and that's what he wants to experience more than anything, is her depth and her warmth and her darkness. So we invite these beings into our hearts in the same way we would invite somebody into our body who we are with. And it's such a beautiful process of true intimacy and true connection. So I'm just going to lead us through just a few minutes of a meditation, a healing process that you can do to do this on your own. I also really encourage you to sign up to get the 30 interviews I did, all about activating the magnetic feminine energy and healing and leadership in the world, feminine leadership, and ultimately divine love and divine union and soulmate partnership. I did a whole series. It's over 24 hours of content, all created for you to help you understand these deeper wisdoms and this deeper knowing of true feminine power. All right, so find a comfortable seat and take a few deep breaths. And place your hands in a cross and an X over your heart. And breathe into your heart space. Allow your body and your mind to soften and surrender to whatever emotions, energies are occurring in your body and in your mind at this time. And see if you can pinpoint one area, whether it be emotional or physical, that is pulling your attention. It could be a painful experience, it could be an emotionally triggering experience, something that's pulling your attention. Maybe it's somewhere physical in the body, like your chest, your throat, your belly, your hip, even your knee, your forehead. And just allow your focus to rest there, solely in that space. And as you bring your gentle breath to this area, it's almost like you're just letting inspiration, this spirit, these molecules of breath, this energy of your breath, move the molecules inside of your body. So you're shifting the matter, you're shifting the tightness and the density inside of you, and you're just bringing a subtlety to this space, a gentleness. The more gentle you breathe, the more compassionate you can be toward this space, allowing whatever is to arise. Keep your attention on this space as long as you possibly can here. If you notice your mind wandering, just continue to bring it back. And notice that maybe the pain or the discomfort has shifted. It could be that it has become more intense or worse. Or maybe it's shifted and become less intense. Point is that with your awareness, you allow change and transformation to occur. Just being with the discomfort without judgment, witnessing anything, and letting go of any stories that might be popping up in your head. Connect back with the center of your heart, feeling that area expanding and feeling love enter into your body and awareness. And almost allowing that love to infuse with the pain, to bring the two together, these opposing energies, these opposites, and seeing what happens when you allow love to meet the pain, and when you allow pain to be met by love. What does it birth? What does it grow? What does it create? It's in this sanctuary of your heart, in the depth of both your darkness and your light, that you are so powerful as an embodiment of the feminine force. You're connected to all sides of you. You embrace all sides of you. And when you embrace all parts of you, you command from others, from lovers, from partners, that you be loved fully. For there's not one side of you that is not acceptable. There is not one side of you that is not beautiful. You are all an expression of the goddess and of the divine. And first and foremost, this self-acceptance of every bit of you, your wounds, and that welling compassion in your heart. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just drop your chin down gently towards your chest and bow into your heart space. So in bowing into the heart, it's almost as if you were bowing with reverence toward the goddess, the divine feminine energy inside of you. In reverence, gratitude, and humility. Surrendering to the higher power that is flowing through you in every moment, that is wanting to love and guide you as you let it. Know that in this surrender, this vulnerability, you are the most powerful and the strongest. It's this rawness that is valuable to the world and beautiful to the world. And slowly you can lift yourself back up and stay there as long as you want. I'm just going to close out here. So it's a very powerful practice to do to bring that self-compassion and acceptance into your body, activate the magnetic feminine heart going within, pulling within, and ultimately healing these lower subconscious underbelly patterns of the feminine energy so that you can pull back all of the power that you've dispersed and given away and become that whole vessel with a high capacity to love and be loved. So if you have any questions or are interested in working with me, I would love to hear from you. You can connect with me at connect@eastwestwoman.com. Thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing from you.